Hi folks, thanks for joining us on this video. If you're new here, I'm Willie.
And I'm Sarah.
We're a musician and artist, and at the end of last year we moved to a nearly 200-year-old cottage on the Isle of Skye in the Scottish Highlands with our dog, Jack Spaniels.
This week, Skye and all of Western Scotland are battered by wild storms and relentless torrential rain.
But will Skye-Life Cottage and my repairs from the last storm cope with all this flooding?
Plus, I take you on a creative journey from concept to the finished product.
And we talked to an expert on cetaceans after making a sad discovery on the beach just outside the cottage.
Join us as we continue.
Living the Skye life. Oh dear, it appears the river is back. Ugh. Lots of heavy rain. Our driveway is a river. You may remember in a previous episode when it flooded. It's doing basically the same thing. It's coming down the path here. It's the river up there's burst its banks. I'm going to have to do some digging probably again. What it does is gouge out all the stones and then I'll have to replace them. And I had to buy about 4 bags the last time, or 5 bags of gravel, which is now moved, you can see. The problem we had the last time was here. In there, the water was going down into this sort of area here, pooling up and actually going right through the back of the byre. Whereas this time, it's not doing that at all. It's going round the byre. It's pulling up at the back of the shed because there's a lot of vegetation there, but there is actually a gap under there. I'll probably have to dig a little bit more of a trench. That's good to see. That is doing its job. That's great. So I know the water's not going inside the byre this time. The last time it was just up to there and it was just pouring in through all these gaps. It's not doing that anymore. So that job that I did a while ago has fixed the issue. But having a river for a driveway is not ideal. The good thing is the drainage here is amazing. It drains away so quickly. You can see, even since I was just round there about 5 minutes ago, the water level's increased. So I'm going to have to do something. I'm going to have to try and divert the top of the path to stop this from getting any worse. Listen to the burn. Look at this. The whole front. Look at my bridge. The ferry bridge burns like a torrent. I'm not so worried about it this time because it's not going into the byre, but I don't want it flooding the front garden and I don't want it ruining our driveway. So I'm going to dig it out of the gate and try and get the flow to go that way. I'm also going to put down some sandbags as well, and hopefully that'll solve the problem and let the garden dry out and drain away. So let's do that. The ground is so stony, it's so hard to dig. I've dug a second channel there. I'm hoping the water doesn't get any worse, but at least now we've got this barricade here which should last for a while, I hope. The water that's now going down our drive is about a quarter of what it was, if not less. So that's great, that should just settle down now. Hopefully there won't be any more rain now because this has just been absolutely crazy the last 24 hours. Rain's here a fair amount, but this is madness what it's been like. 10 minutes later, more of a downpour, which is still going on, although it's not as bad, believe it or not. Check this out. So it is doing its job to a certain extent. The water going down there is even worse than before. But look here, it's still coming through. It's nowhere near as bad as it would be if I hadn't put those sandbags there. I need to get more sandbags. Wow. The river is back, nowhere near as bad as it was, as are the swimming pools in the front garden. Wow, you can see the water coming over the hill behind the house. That's insane. Let's go and have a look at the bridge, if it's still there. Whoa! Check this out. That is the ferry bridge. It's not much of a bridge at the moment. That's crazy. The wild weather of the Hebrides. Well, it's the next day and it's like nothing's happened. It's crazy. There's a little groove on the driveway. Apart from that, there's nothing to see. Let me show you. Here is the ferry bridge. It's not underwater anymore. Hey, Jack. That's cool. Let's go around the other side of the house. This way. The swimming pool is gone. As is the river. The water at the back of the shed as well. That's all gone. Hey, Jack. That's all gone too. I just need to rake that a bit and fix that hole there. Aside from that, that's all good. And there's my bags. They've been there all night doing their job. All the water's gone away. Yes, bah. And most importantly, this area here is dry. It didn't get into the back of the byre. So I'm chuffed about that. The drainage on our property is amazing. All that water came in and it's all gone already. It just drains away right away, which is really, really good. It's very stony here, so I think it just goes between the stones and out in the ground and it just goes, so that's cool. Problem solved. Until next time.
You join me in Skye-Life Studios and it is a wet, wild and windy autumn day outside. We've been stuck in the studios for a while just getting on with work because the weather has been really bad recently. As you probably know, I do prints of my paintings on Etsy and I also do note cards which feature some of my best-selling prints. I'm working with the local printers on Skye to get those done and I thought, well, why don't I do something Christmassy? I've been having a little bit of a doodle and I thought I would make a little painting to add some festive cheer to some of my existing prints. So there you go, I now have a lovely painted Santa hat behind me. What I'm going to do is cut that out digitally on Photoshop and then see if I can add it into some of my existing paintings. This is my idea. I don't know if this is going to work. It might look awful, I don't know, but we're going to give it a go. This is how I scan my paintings in. It's in the scanner, which is over there, and it's wireless. I use image capture and I select all the different details that I want, and then I click scan and it just transmits automatically to my computer, which is pretty cool. I'm gonna wait for that to finish. I'm gonna have my little treat, which is a Tunnocks tea cake. And if you've never had one of these before, if you come to Scotland, definitely have a Tunnocks tea cake. It's kind of like a s'more. I know a lot of people have been telling us to have s'mores when we have the fire pit out, and this is kind of like a non-hot version. So there's a biscuit, and then there's a dome of marshmallow, and then that's covered in chocolate. And it's excellent. Hey! This feels so silly. I don't know if it's good silly or terrible silly, but very silly. I've just spent the last half an hour putting Santa hats on a Highland pony, a Highland cow, and a Scottish black-faced sheep. Well, it entertained me anyway. I think it's pretty cool. I'm going to do a test print of each one of them in A6 sized and see what they look like, make sure they look okay. Then maybe I'll get in touch with the printer and see if I can get some Christmas cards done. I'm testing these on A6 size because that's the size of the note cards that I do. I don't do prints in this size at all anymore. I did used to offer A6 size prints, which is kind of postcard sized, but I was getting so much wastage and stress from doing them because my printer just really doesn't like that small size. For reference, this is why. because it keeps getting stuck in the mechanism. That's why I don't offer A6 size prints anymore, just because too much wastage of paper, of ink, of time, and it was just causing me so much stress, so I just stopped doing them. So now I just do A5 and A4 sizes. That was start to finish my process of painting a little Santa hat and editing it into these existing paintings to make Christmas card designs, and honestly, I really love them. I think they're very silly, but I think they're very fun, and I'm definitely going to make these into Christmas cards. I'm not sure what to do with these prints. I might just keep them. I don't know. I'll have a think about what to do with them. Willie's out at the moment, but I'm going to show him when he gets back and see what he thinks, and I'm going to post them to my Instagram and see if my followers think they're a good idea. But yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead with them.
Just doing my usual looking out the window, which is what I do every day because we've got a beautiful view, and also look out to see what's washed up on the beach, because sometimes we get fish boxes that I used for my shelves in the shed, and also we get quite a lot of rope washing up as well as litter that we want to get rid of, but things we can reuse as well. I was just about to go out to the byre and start editing the video for this week. I looked down there and I think I actually see a dolphin down there, or porpoise, so I'm a bit worried. I'm going to go and check it out. It might just turn out to be rubbish, so I'm going to wander down there with Jack on a lead and just see what it is, and if it is a dolphin or a harbour porpoise, I will have to report it. There's a phone number you have to phone and report it, so that's why I'm going down there to check it out. Okay, I've just got my coat on ready to go down. I've made the decision not to take Jack, which is probably going to be very unpopular with him, but I don't want him going up and sniffing it. If it's got any kind of disease, I'm sure it isn't transferable to a dog. I don't know what he's going to do with it and spread it around, whereas I'll be very careful. What I'm going to do now is just wander over there. It'll take me like 10 minutes to get over there. I really hope it isn't a dead dolphin, because they're amazing creatures. So let's go and have a look. Living the Skye life isn't all glamour and making cordials and foraging mushrooms. Sometimes things like this happen, so let's go and have a look. Hi sheepies! Over there you can just see, that's what I saw there. As predicted, it wasn't a popular decision by Jack to come down here without him, but I think it's the right thing to do. At this point it still looks very much like a dolphin or porpoise. Let's see what it is. The following scene unfortunately includes footage of a dead porpoise. If you think you will find this upsetting, and to avoid viewing this scene, please fast forward to the time stated below to avoid viewing this section. There's seabirds there, but they don't seem to be paying any attention to it. Flock of oyster catchers flying away there. Let's get over to it. It certainly still looks very dolphin-like. It's not what you want to see just after breakfast. Actually, I think it's a porpoise. A harbour porpoise. It's been wounded, you can see. Oh, that's so sad. Bless the thing. That's been gone for a while. Yeah. I think the seabirds actually have been has been eating its eye. Yeah, that's really sad. But I'll need to go and report that. The tide is just after high, and it's going to go all the way out and then come all the way back in again, plus it's on the wane, so that's such a pity. From this point in the video, there are no more scenes featuring the dead porpoise. Stay tuned to meet Ellie, a local expert on cetaceans around the coasts of Scotland. Not the nicest thing to see. It's part of life, I suppose. I've got to go and call the government now and tell them. I don't know if they'll come here actually, they might not. They might just tell me to send them some detailed photographs. I don't know, but I've taken plenty of photographs. Yeah, that's all I can do really. Go back to the house and let them know, so that's what I'm doing right now. And also give Jack a cuddle, because he was not happy about me coming out without him. Bless him. He'll get a walk after this has all been reported, but not over by the porpoise. Munchkin! Sorry I had to leave you, Jack. I was only away 10 minutes though, pups. Hey, don't take your toy outside, it's raining. Good boy. I told you I would come back. Here's a good boy. Jack's a good boy! Yeah.
I've been working on these Christmas card designs for the last couple of days, especially because the weather's been so horrible that we've been stuck inside the studio for so long. And I'm really happy with how the images look, but I wasn't sure whether to put like Merry Christmas or something on them. I quite like the idea of doing like a pun, I thought of like Merry Christmas for the cow, and I was struggling, and then I thought, I live with the king of terrible puns. So he's come up with the puns for my Christmas card captions.
Yep. So what are we doing for the sheep?
The sheep is the best one. That really made us laugh, actually. So the sheep we're doing
Season's bleatings.
So he just came up with that straight off the bat. So I knew that we had to do punny captions for all of them. So you came up with the one for the cow.
Well, the coo was like, it's the two of us. That was just Merry Christmas.
Yeah, that was pretty simple one. And then we couldn't think of one for the pony at all. We were racking our brains, but I think we've got it.
Yep.
And we're gonna do hoof yourself a very Merry Christmas.
Hoof yourself a very Merry Christmas.
So there we go. We've actually collaborated. The only thing we've done together is the videos and the music. And now we've actually collaborated on a project.
There you go, that's cool, huh?
So cool. So designs by me, puns by Mr. Willie Scott.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, we seem to be walking in a river.
We're going into a river now.
Is this a good idea?
Usually not.
I don't know. Whoa, and Jack's having the time of his life as well. There he is. Hey Jack, come for a swim. It's been quite rainy recently, so there's a lot of water in the river. Let's just recap. Season's bleatings, Merry Christmas, and
Hoof a very Merry Christmas.
Hoof a very Merry Christmas.
Well, today's the day I get to go and pick up my calendars and Christmas cards from the printer. It feels like a long time just because I've been very excited to get them, but actually it's only taken a couple of weeks to get them printed. It's the only printers here on the Isle of Skye, and it's called Strathprint. And the guys there are really good, they're really friendly, they're really communicative, and I really like the quality of the stuff that they do. So I get all my note cards, Christmas cards and calendars printed there. It's really important to me and Willie to support local businesses, and when I found out there was a printer on the island, I knew I really wanted to get my calendars done there. I'm heading off to Broadford to get the food shop in, and I'm going to pick up the calendars and cards. I might drop some off to my retailers in Broadford. So I've got the Coffee Bothy and Made on Skye, which are both in Broadford, and they stock my prints, so I'm definitely going to drop some off there. Then I'll get home and it's time to start packaging up. Okay, I'm just parked up at the co-op in Broadford and I have got all my calendars and all my cards. My car is full of boxes. I've had a check and I'm really happy with how they look. They look really, really good. I'm gonna head to the Coffee Bothy and probably sit down for a cup of coffee, and I might start packaging some up if they let me, if there's enough space. I had a missed call on my way over to Broadford, and I've just had a message from the Asda delivery service to say that my delivery's been cancelled. So that's not such good news. They, for some reason, had to cancel it. I don't think it could be severe weather because honestly, it is absolutely beautiful today. Clear blue skies, sunshine, absolutely no wind. Obviously something's happened on the roads and they can't get through, so that's a bit annoying. I'm gonna have to go do the full food shop in the co-op, which, as we found out, is about 20-25% more expensive, but never mind. I've got my Christmas cards all done, and you've seen the process from conception to delivery. So I picked them up today and I'm so happy with them. I've got a lot of pre-orders for these, so I'm going to be sending them out very soon, so I'll have to get to work folding them and packaging them up. Then I've got a few extra sets that I'm going to put for general sale on Etsy, so do keep an eye on Etsy. If they're not up there right now, if you favourite the shop, you'll get notifications when they come back out. There's only very few sets remaining, so be quick if you want them. And of course I picked up my calendars today as well, which is super exciting. So this is the second year in a row that I've done a calendar. It's all new pictures compared to last year, and I'm very excited to get all these packaged up, although a little bit nervous because I feel like it's going to be a lot of work. Might have to get Willie involved in that. We have got Ellie here, who has come to talk to us about cetaceans and strandings on Skye and also the rest of Scotland as well. Welcome, Ellie. Thank you for joining us.
No, thank you for
Say hi
inviting
to
me.
everyone.
Hello.
You work for the Stranding scheme, yeah?
Yeah, I'm based on Skye. The scheme's based in Glasgow University, but it's a good spot to be on Skye because we're a bit of a hotspot for strandings over on this side.
We've obviously found this porpoise down on the beach and we called that in when we found it, or Willie did anyway, he was the one that went down. Obviously we know that if you find a live stranded cetacean on the shore, that's really important to call that in, but why is it important to also report the dead ones that you find?
The dead ones are really important because from each animal that strands, depending on how fresh it is, we can learn quite a lot about not just how and why it died, but also how it lived. So we can start to pick up things like trends in disease outbreaks, any kind of emerging threats that are maybe having an effect on certain populations.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really important. You know, it's sad an animal's lost its life, but they are really great learning opportunities.
We met the volunteer that came to take the samples. So what can you actually find out from them?
They all go through a training course and we ask them to take photographs of the animal so that we can sex it, tell if it's male or female, and age it as well if it's a juvenile or an adult. Then the samples we ask them to take are skin, blubber and muscle, and from the skin we can look at the genetics. The blubber is useful to look at things like overall body condition, so how healthy is that animal, how fat it is basically, and also look at any toxins that have accumulated in the animal. And the muscle that we take, you can also look for a whole suite of things like bacterial infections, viruses, anything else like that that might be going on. And also from the photographs we can see if there's been any trauma, like a boat strike or an entanglement. So again, it all just helps build the picture of how has this animal ended up on the beach.
If you're trying to find out the cause of death, is that usually something that's happened to it sort of external from like boating or industry?
It's a real mix actually. It can be natural causes of death, so disease, infections, the animal can just be emaciated, it's not being able to feed for one reason or another. And then on the other side we've got the kind of human impacts, so yeah, things like boat strikes, entanglements, a whole suite of different things.
We were saying before that we, well, I didn't, but Willie saw some dolphins from our boat, which has got like an outboard engine on it, and he just killed the engine as soon as he saw there was a pod of dolphins sort of approaching. And they were lucky because it was calm. They weren't really going to float into the shore or anything, but what should you do if you're in a boat and you see them?
Absolutely. There's quite strict rules around how boaters should behave around cetaceans. All of the cetaceans that we have in Scottish waters are protected under several layers of national and international law. Yeah. So you do have to be really careful. Keeping a distance, killing the engine, and keeping any additional noise to a minimum. A lot of common sense really. Just trying not to harass them or threaten them in any way.
Oh, you've come to join, have you? Are you just going to sit nicely? Actually, what I was going to ask is, what are the different types of cetaceans you get around Scotland? Because I think there's more actually here than I thought there would be.
We're really lucky here, so we get, I think, around 28 different species have been spotted in our waters, so that's roughly about a third of all worldwide known species. Hard porpoise, bottlenose dolphins, and then we get things like humpbacks, minkies, and they're seasonal visitors, all the way up to fin whales, which is second only to the blue whale. And then we have killer whales, we have a resident pod of killer whales, there's only 2 of those left though. But yeah, it's a real mix. Like the diversity here is really quite special.
I would absolutely love to see an orca in real life in the wild, like top of my bucket list.
Well, they're off Gairloch at the moment apparently. As of about an hour ago they were seen off Gairloch.
You touched on the amount of strandings you get up here. Why is there so many here?
Probably a mix of reasons, to be honest. Some of them are just natural. navigational errors. Sea lochs that get quite shallow, we've got a lot of sandbars and stuff, particularly in the Western Isles, and things like sperm whales really struggle in shallow water to navigate. So often they will live strand. So with the bigger animals, they essentially sort of are crushed to death because when they hit the shore, their whole body weight is now
it's not being supported.
It's not being supported. So we've seen that a few times. Other times we think it's likely to do with noise from shipping or military activity or whatever. That's quite a hard one to diagnose or to prove, but that is again with things like pilot whales, which are one of the most common species to mass strand. The reason they're called pilot whales is in the pod they have a pilot.
Right.
And everybody follows that whale.
Yeah.
So if that whale or one of the other whales in the pod gets into trouble and hits the shore, their family connection within the pod is so strong that the rest will just follow. And so that's why you sometimes end up with, like in the Western Isles, we had 55 of them stranded. So that's a whole family unit, that's a whole pod. If something hits the beach live, it will be assessed. They will try and refloat when they can, but it depends on the circumstances. If the animal is obviously ill, it's mortally wounded or whatever, sometimes the decision will be made to euthanize it. There's plenty of examples out there of successful refloats. It depends on the size. If it's dolphins, porpoise, pilot whales, there's a good chance. Depending on the circumstances.
You see on the social media, people would love to help and want to do something because they do love these creatures. But like, can anyone just come and help out to those things, or do you have to be specially trained?
Anyone can report,
and
anyone can provide information. So whether it's live or dead, we'll be able to ask you questions and direct you as to what information would be most useful. We've got networks of volunteers all around the coast, so the chances are we could have somebody to you pretty quickly.
So if someone does find one that's dead on the shore and they report it, they shouldn't touch it?
No, not until a volunteer or one of us gets there. There's more ease of reporting. So a few years ago we launched an app called Beach Track, which people can use to report stranding. The social media pages, the website, the phone line.
So what is the correct procedure then?
If it's live, call British Divers Marine Life Rescue. They have a website with a hotline. They have 24-hour cover 7 days a week. Call them, they'll take some details from you, they will send some volunteers out, and they'll also be able to get into contact with other groups like Coast Guard, Lifeboat, the emergency services if that's required. And then for the stranding scheme, our website strandings.org, all the phone lines are on that. So you can phone it in, you can WhatsApp, you can email, you can use the app, but if you can give us a rough description, any photographs, a description of the animal, all that information is useful.
Is there anything else you want to say, any kind of message that you want to put out?
Thank you to everyone who's reported strandings. They're a really valuable source of information. I mean, the marine environment, there's still so many questions and unknowns. Every case is important.
Jack seems to think we're finished. I think that's everything. That's all my questions answered. It's nice to know that even though we've made quite a sad discovery, it's still going to be of some kind of use.
Oh, huge value. So everyone adds to that kind of picture that we're trying to create of what's actually going on out there.
Alright, well, thank you so much for coming to meet us. Good luck with the rest of your work and your projects.
Thank you.
I think that's it. We done? Yes.
I'm sometimes asked by viewers if there's anything that I've worked on that's coming out, and a song recently did come out. It's a song I co-wrote called All I Can Do, and it's by Billy Reekie, who's a local lad to Kirkcaldy, just like me. I'll play you a little snippet of the song now. All I can do, all I can do, all I can do is fall in love without you. For a version that's far better than that, check out Billy's version. I'll leave the link in the video description below.
As always folks, thank you so much for watching our video. We really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please do leave us a like, a comment, or subscribe to our channel if you don't already. It's free to do and it really helps our channel to grow.
Also, if you did enjoy the video and you want to help support the channel, you can do so over on Ko-fi. You can buy us a coffee or Jack a wee treat.
Or if you want to help us out more long term, you can become one of our amazing patrons over on Patreon, where you get lots of extra content for helping us out every month.
Thanks again for watching our video, and we will see you next week. Chasins. Keep smiling. And teeth. And teeth.
You can't say that.
Yes, I can. I just have. We're leaving our suburban life, moving over the sea to Skye. Are we chasing a dream? I guess in time we will see when we're living the sky life. Living the sky life. Okay.
Ready? Essential beard maintenance. So what I'm going to do is cut that out digitally.
Sorry.
That's the dog. Knocking at the door again. And I'm really happy with the images. What are you doing?
Just trying to work out where I am. Should I be walking like this?
You need to walk with like a squat.
I just walk like this. Just walk normally. Like how's that?
Right, do you want to hold it?
Right. I'll hold it.
And you've now seen the process from, what's the word? Ready? 3, 2, season.
I can remember it. Alright, go again.
Just in case you think we're making it up about the sky weather, this is 2 minutes later. And it's not very nice. And of course, now it's bright sunshine as we're going back to work. Typical.
Click here to subscribe to live in the sky life.
Click here to go back to the start of our adventures with our very first episode.